Hello everyone, my name is Annelise Trout. I'm an IT major, and today I'm going to be talking with you all about Halt and Catch Fire. So how I heard about this was actually through Netflix. There's a show that was produced in 2014, and it follows a semi-fictitious company through basically the era of microcomputing, how it all got started. In the series, they're at a company called Cardiff Electric, and in reality, this is likely based off the company Compact Computer Corporation. Additionally, the series is based a little bit later. They claim 1983, and in reality, the portable compact computer came out in 1981. And in the series, you're following three main people. Gordon Clark, who is like their microcomputer engineer, Joe McMillian, who is a salesperson who came over from IBM to kind of jumpstart the project, and Cameron Howe, who is their computer developer who tries to reverse engineer the BIOS from IBM. So in reality, the Compact Computer Corporation was started by Rod Canyon, Jim Harris, and Bill Murdo. They actually came over from Texas Instruments, and they branched out from there to create Compact and kind of spearhead the micro computing industry. Additionally, for the character of Gordon Clark, there's some speculation that he's actually based off Adam Osborne. So a little bit of backstory on him. He introduced the Osborne 1, which was the first commercially successful and widely accessible portable computer, which was released in April of 1981. And it weighed almost 25 pounds, which is kind of crazy for us to imagine today. And in the TV series, there's this like huge emphasis about trying to get it down to 10 pounds so people could carry it around like a briefcase, essentially. So they started out pretty heavy, but they tried to get lighter over the era. Something else that was kind of interesting is that the Osborne 1 included word processing and spreadsheet software, which we kind of take a little bit for granted, but at the time, IBM didn't bundle any of their hardware software, so if you wanted both, you would have to purchase separately. This was sort of just a trait that set the Osborne 1 apart from other competitors. Unfortunately, what ended up happening was Adam Osborne started talking about several new computers they were going to release, and in doing so, severely kind of released the demand for the Osborne 1. And they ended up actually claiming for bankruptcy in 1983. Since then, this term, the Osborne effect, has been created to kind of refer to any pre-announcement of a new product that severely collapses or declines previous demand. Something else I found interesting about the show is they talk about the layered array for the motherboard. And I guess this is kind of how it got started originally. So the big problem that they were having, kind of in the picture on the left, they keep drawing out the motherboard and they're trying to figure out how they can save space, because the big idea, right, is to be portable. So they're trying to think, well, what if we take this out, or what if we remove this? But in the picture on the right, as you can see, his wife ends up just taking the sheet of paper and saying, well, what if we could just fold it in half? What if you could just layer it? So he ends up going back to his team of engineers and proposing the idea of a layered array. So now this is something that we definitely use in computer architecture. I think I was reading somewhere online that like most desktops have like 8 to 12 layers. Something else I learned watching the show, so they talk about the Doherty threshold. So basically the idea is that if you create any sort of action on your computer, like if you hit the enter key, if the computer takes more than 400 milliseconds to respond, you end up waiting for the computer. And in doing so, you are losing interaction time, and you may lose interest. You may walk away from the computer because you can't interact with it right now. So there's this big moment in the show in which they hit 396 milliseconds, which shows to them that a computer can interact fluidly with the user without any wait time, which means that they could use it for longer periods of time. So to kind of circle back, the idea of Halt and Catch Fire, kind of where did the title come from? This is what they posted at the beginning of the show. A little bit more backstory on this is basically that they were working on the IBM System 360. They were using the Motorola 6800, which was an 8-bit microprocessor. They were getting some like illegal opcodes, and basically it froze the processor. And they ended up actually leaving those in after they found them to use for testing purposes, which made HCF technically a valid instruction. But the term has since become the catch-all to refer to any instructions that freeze the processor. And typically you can't get out of it without a hard reboot to reset the system. So that's where the title came from, and these were just some random things I found really interesting about the show. Thanks for listening.